it's true that neoliberalism sometimes wants this diversity of competencies and skills in their workers, want workers to develop it by themselves, or even students, citizens to develop these skills by themselves. But then if you look at translingual practice, we don't make the same argument. We are not saying translingualism is completely in the hands of people themselves, that there's no room for teachers, there's no room for institutions, there's no room for norms. What I would say is translingualism, as it is theorized by a lot of scholars, it's very politically savvy. We do see a role for teachers, role models, engaging with translingualism with a sensitivity to power. So all the time in my work, I mean, if somebody said in my work or in the work of Filia Garcia and others, we have no sense of power, that's ridiculous. We are always concerned about power and how translingualism or plurilingualism engages with power. We need to make a clarification of all these things as a product versus all these things as a practice. So if you think of multilingualism, plurilingualism as a product, as a kind of a disposition, as a feature, maybe translingualism thrives on that. For example, look at advertisements, marketing, they present multilingualism, translingualism as a branding kind of mechanism. We are relating this to everybody. We love all the people of the world for our products, etc., and we know all those languages. But the way translingual scholars theorize their work, it's not as a product or an essence, but as a practice. That is, how do you bring your resources to make spaces in business or education or politics for more empowering ends. So translingualism might use it for a lot of other its own purposes as a product, but neoliberalism will use it as a product, but translingual scholars are talking about it as a practice. So there's a difference. So we have to make a distinction between translingualism as a product versus translingualism as a practice. And as we know, people with the powers that be use translingualism as a product for their purposes, as a branding mechanism, as a symbol, as something they profess. But we are talking about it as a practice, which is very socially conscious, sensitive to power, and this is going to vary in different contexts. How we practice translingualism, against which norms, against which dominant groups, in which domain, will be very different in different contexts.